She lounged before the lenses with a crooked, taunting grin, tapping beneath her eyelids as though she were choreographing some frivolous social media spectacle. Inside that Aurora, Colorado courtroom on September 5, 2013, 18-year-old Isabella Guzman faced accusations of extinguishing her own mother's life with 151 merciless thrusts of a blade. Yet she behaved as if the proceedings were little more than a stage for her eccentric theatrics. The atmosphere thickened with collective disbelief. Her defense team had constructed an insanity plea, a fragile bulwark against the catastrophic truth unfolding around her. But what unfurled before the assembled onlookers wasn't repentance, nor the cold poise of a calculated malefactor. Instead, it was an unnerving spectacle, an emotional void, so cavernous it seemed to swallow the very gravity of the moment. Her mother's absence hovered over the room like a shadow that refused to retreat, and the evidence woven through her erratic, self-contradicting declarations during police interrogation betrayed the contours of a psyche fractured far beyond the reach of ordinary comprehension.
You left her to die, brutally, on a bathroom floor.
I did not murder anyone. Please stop accusing me of this.
Just tell me how that feels.
Please fingerprint me, please fingerprint me, please fingerprint me. I will show you that I am not this freaky, horrible person. Call me Isabella,
that's your name.
My name is not Isabella. My name is Samantha. There are people in this world that look alike, you know?
This is the haunting chronicle of a young woman whose psyche splintered so violently that she conjured an alternate persona to barricade herself from the devastation she unleashed. Her inner world fractured like brittle glass under immense pressure, birthing a separate self to shoulder the weight she could no longer bear. What followed was not merely a descent, it was an erasure, a retreat into a mental labyrinth where truth dissolved into illusion. Every fragment of this account has been corroborated through official court transcripts, meticulous police documentation, and comprehensive psychiatric analyses, each layer revealing a deeper fissure in a mind pushed past the brink of coherence. If you're trying to understand the early red flags families often overlook in cases like this, make sure you subscribe to Mr. Owl. We break down psychological warning patterns that might help prevent future tragedies. On August 27, 2013, tensions between Isabella Guzman and her mother erupted into a fierce argument, ending with Isabella spitting directly in Yun Mai Hoi's face. Her mother had dealt with difficult behavior for years, but this crossed a threshold she never expected. What Yun Mi didn't realize was that this single moment would mark the beginning of a nightmare that would fully unfold the very next day. Isabella grew up in Aurora, Colorado as an only child. From early childhood, her behavior set her apart in troubling ways. By the time she reached 7 years old, her mother felt forced to make a heartbreaking decision. Isabella would go live with her father full-time. Imagine that, a mother choosing distance from her own child because the behavior was too severe to manage. The divorce that happened when Isabella was 3 had left cracks in the family dynamic, but moving households offered no real solution to the deeper psychological issues slowly taking shape. Throughout her childhood, police were called to the home after neighbors believed intruders were breaking in. The truth was strange. It was Isabella's boyfriend sneaking into the house without permission. What looked like teenage rebellion was actually part of a pattern no one fully understood at the time. Isabella spent years with her father, but the separation didn't heal what was happening inside her mind. When she moved back in with her mother and stepfather at 14, her behavior was not just worse, it was escalating rapidly. By the time Isabella turned 18 in August 2013, the home environment had deteriorated beyond repair. Her stepfather, Ryan Hoy, later described her as increasingly hostile and unpredictable. Most terrifying of all, Yun Mai had begun to fear her own daughter. This fear devastated her because her love for Isabella never wavered. She kept trying to reach her child, hoping anything might pull Isabella back from the edge she was slipping toward. The day after the spitting incident, Yun Mai opened her email and found a chilling message: "You will pay." But something about it was strange. The email wasn't addressed to her, but to someone named Cecilia. That name would later cast new shadows over everything. Alarmed, Yun Mai contacted police, hoping officers could calm the situation before it spiraled. Isabella was 18, and legally, Yun Mi could have forced her to leave the home, but she didn't want that. She still believed her daughter could be saved. When police spoke with Isabella, they explained clearly that she needed to show respect or risk being removed from the house, but Isabella didn't seem to absorb any of it. She stayed mostly silent, detached, almost unreachable. Worried that family intervention might work better, Yun-mi contacted Isabella's biological father, Robert. He agreed to speak with his daughter and later described a calm conversation in the backyard. He truly believed he had reached her. He would eventually realize he had not reached her at all. That evening, around 9:30 p.m., Yun-mi arrived home from work carrying McDonald's for herself and Ryan. A small, normal moment, one last hint of ordinary life. After a short conversation, she asked Ryan if he had seen Isabella. He told her he hadn't seen her for about an hour. With the tension in the house, the threats, the police visit, that uncertainty must have filled Yun-mi with dread. She decided to go upstairs to take a shower, unaware that Isabella was already waiting for her, lost in delusions that were about to turn deadly. Moments later, Ryan heard loud thuds coming from the upstairs bathroom, followed by a scream that froze him in place. Thinking it was another physical argument, he rushed upstairs, but as he reached the hallway, Isabella slammed the bathroom door shut and locked it. Ryan stood outside, unable to get in, with the sounds of violence continuing only inches from him. Then he saw blood pooling under the door, a horrifying sign that this was no ordinary fight. Panicking, he ran downstairs and called 911, struggling to find the right words as terror overtook him. He sprinted back upstairs, praying he could break the door open. In those final moments, he heard something that would stay with him forever, Yun-mi's last word, spoken with her fading breath, Jehovah.
I'm not sure what happened with the knife she was carrying. It looked like she was still holding on to it. And I looked down and I saw my wife on the floor, blood everywhere, all over the bathroom. I was talking to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher told me, make sure you get her breathing again, get her airways open. I don't know CPR.
To Ryan's astonishment, the bathroom door suddenly swung open on its own. Isabella stepped out calmly, her face emotionless, a blood-soaked knife dangling from her hand, as if it meant nothing. When Ryan looked past her into the bathroom, the sight nearly knocked the breath out of him. His wife was lying still on the floor, surrounded by a grotesque pool of blood. The 911 dispatcher urged him to perform CPR, but even at a glance, he knew it was futile. The wounds were catastrophic. In that moment, Ryan understood that his wife was gone forever, and the young woman he once tried to guide had become her murderer. Emergency responders reached the home at 10:16 p.m., just 11 minutes after the frantic call. By 10:28 p.m., Yun-mi Hoi was officially declared dead. What paramedics and officers encountered inside the bathroom was beyond anything they expected. Yun-mi had suffered 79 stab wounds, 31 to her face and 48 across her neck and torso. A baseball bat lay on the floor beside her, but Isabella herself had disappeared entirely. She had slipped out of the house and vanished into the night. Police immediately issued a statewide bolo notice, warning residents that Isabella was armed and highly dangerous. Attempts to trace her phone failed. She had turned it off, proof that despite her unraveling mental state, she still possessed enough clarity to evade law enforcement. For the next 16 hours, officers searched relentlessly while the community held its breath. The manhunt spread across Aurora as fear and confusion gripped local neighborhoods. On August 29th, around 2 p.m., a call came in reporting what looked like a dead body in the back of a Jeep inside a parking garage. When officers arrived, they discovered the body was Isabella, alive, asleep, and still smeared in her mother's dried blood. By the time police approached, she had already stepped out of the vehicle. They found her just outside the garage, still wearing the same pink sports bra and turquoise shorts from the night before, carrying the murder weapon and a backpack stuffed with personal items. Investigators later learned that, after fleeing the home, Isabella had stopped at an H-Mart grocery store. Surveillance video showed her walking into the building soaked in blood. Shockingly, she had spoken to other customers, telling them she'd been sexually assaulted and didn't want authorities involved. Believing her story, no one called 911. The opportunity for an earlier arrest slipped by unnoticed. When officers finally detained Isabella, she remained completely calm. She didn't struggle, didn't argue, didn't even try to run, but the true strangeness began once she entered the interrogation room. The recorded interview would go on to reveal one of the most unsettling glimpses into a suspect's mind ever captured on video. What investigators witnessed during that session exposed just how deeply she had slipped into a world of delusion. To see how detectives unravel cases where reality fractures into something far darker, subscribe to Mr. Owl.
He's 110 pounds? That's really skinny. I'm 148 pounds.
Isabella, please.
Don't call me Isabella.
That's your name.
My name is not Isabella. My name is Samantha. There are people in this world who look alike, you know? You guys are not, like, all-knowing. You don't know everything. You're just accusing me of all this stuff that I didn't do.
That's you.
No, it is not.
There's no question. That's you.
She's pretty.
Yeah, you're a pretty girl. That's you.
But that's not me.
Yeah, that's up your Facebook account.
She's a singer?
It's not even a funny game anymore.
Why would she kill anybody?
That's what we want to know.
You left her to die, brutally, on a bathroom
I did
floor.
not murder anyone.
How does
Please
that
stop
feel?
accusing me of this.
Just tell me how that feels.
Please fingerprint me. Please fingerprint me. Please fingerprint me. I will show you that I am not this freaky, horrible person. Don't call me Isabella. That's
your
really
name.
freaky. My name is not Isabella. My name is Samantha. There are people in this world who look alike, you know?
The investigators didn't accept a single part of what she was claiming. They pushed again and again, trying to get Isabella to drop the act and acknowledge what really happened. But in her mind, there was no act to drop. She wasn't lying, she was speaking from the reality she believed was true. Inside her broken perception, she wasn't Isabella at all. She genuinely thought she was Samantha Gonzalez.
We know what you know what you did, and we know who you are. We know how it happened,
Apparently not,
when it
because you
happened.
guys are completely wrong. You got the wrong girl.
No, we don't. We don't have the wrong girl, and you know that.
No, I don't.
How did it feel?
How did what feel?
When you did what you did, how did it feel?
I didn't kill anybody. That's
Did
disgusting.
it feel good?
It's disgusting. You guys really think I'm a murderer?
Yeah, we're not joking.
Did it make you feel powerful?
Just you.
The narrative Isabella gave was shockingly elaborate and unwavering. She insisted she was a 15-year-old runaway from Ohio searching for her boyfriend, who she believed had somehow traveled to Colorado. According to her, the entire situation was just a massive identity mix-up, and a simple DNA test would supposedly prove she wasn't the person police thought she was. But the most unsettling moment came later. Detectives decided to bring in Isabella's biological father, Robert, hoping his presence might cut through the layers of delusion. They were praying that seeing someone she knew, someone she once trusted, might pull her back to reality. But when Robert stepped toward his daughter, eyes filled with heartbreak and desperate hope that a father's love might reach her, Isabella didn't react at all. She stared back at him with the same empty, emotionless gaze, as if he were a complete stranger.
Who's that? That's my baby. Okay.
Sir, do you recognize this?
Who are you?
Hey, Roger, why don't you come on back out here for a second? Do you recognize her? Yeah, she's my daughter.
What's her name?
Isabella.
Isabella. What's her last name?
Guzman.
Isabella Guzman. Okay. This photograph here, is that photographed? Is that your daughter there?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is your daughter here?
Yeah.
Okay.
But when Robert approached his daughter with tears in his eyes, hoping that paternal love might penetrate whatever was happening in her mind, Isabella looked at him with the same blank expression.
Is he insane? Does she have like a crazy family? Like a completely crazy family? Is that why she's psychotic and killed her mom? My name is Samantha. Who's that man?
Imagine being a father and having your own child stare at you with no recognition at all. That was the moment Robert's composure completely collapsed, and detectives finally understood they weren't dealing with a teenager trying to dodge responsibility. They were confronting the severe psychiatric crisis. Everything shifted in June 2014, when a major development reshaped the entire case. Isabella entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, supported by an extensive psychological evaluation that that exposed the depth of her mental illness. A forensic psychiatrist testified that Isabella was suffering from paranoid schizophrenia and had been experiencing intense delusions and hallucinations for months before the killing. The doctor explained that Isabella sincerely believed her mother had been replaced by a woman named Cecilia, and that voices were ordering her to destroy this supposed imposter to save the world. This wasn't rebellion, defiance, or a family grudge spiraling out of control. Her mind had been taken over by a debilitating disorder that warped every piece of her reality. The psychiatrist further revealed that Isabella had been experiencing command hallucinations, voices that didn't simply suggest actions but directly ordered her to carry them out. In her disordered thinking, she believed she was preventing catastrophe by obeying them. Her boyfriend at the time also testified, describing her increasingly bizarre behavior and conversations that made no sense, reinforcing the diagnosis that she was living in a world disconnected from everyone else's. Despite the brutality of the incident, the psychiatric team concluded that Isabella's condition was treatable. With proper medication and therapy, her symptoms could stabilize. Even District Attorney George Brockler, known for his tough stance on violent crime, acknowledged that this case was fundamentally different. After reviewing the medical evidence, he chose not to challenge her insanity plea. The judge accepted it, ordering Isabella to an indefinite stay at the Colorado Mental Health Institute in Pueblo, rather than a traditional prison sentence. Her confinement would last not by a set number of years, but until experts determined she no longer posed a danger. Her time at the Mental Health Institute marked the beginning of a long and structured road towards stability. Unlike a prison, the facility focused on rehabilitation, providing strict daily routines designed to treat schizophrenia and help her confront the emotional aftermath of her actions. As medication began to quiet the hallucinations and break through the delusions, Isabella slowly regained her grip on reality, and with that clarity came an overwhelming wave of guilt and trauma. She began experiencing what psychologists call survivor's guilt and perpetrator's trauma, both of which became central to her treatment. Under the care of Dr. Richard Pounds, Isabella participated in individual therapy 3 times a week, group sessions for patients with psychotic disorders, medication supervision, and therapeutic activities aimed at building coping skills. The facility also offered academic programs, allowing Isabella to earn her GED and even take college-level courses in subjects like psychology and social work. 18 months into treatment, Dr. Pounds reported significant improvements. She adhered to her medication without fail, had shown no psychotic symptoms for over a year, and demonstrated genuine insight into her illness. But challenges remained. She struggled with depression, anxiety, and recurring suicidal thoughts as she processed the reality of what had happened. Then, in 2020, something unexpected thrust Isabella's case back into national attention. Old courtroom footage of her detached and erratic behavior resurfaced online and began spreading across TikTok. A viral video montage of Isabella's courtroom appearance featuring her smirking and pointing at her eyes was captioned in a way that portrayed her as iconic and unbothered. That single clip exploded, sparking a wave of content that glamorized her behavior while ignoring the tragedy behind it. Within months, hashtags about her case accumulated hundreds of millions of views. Users romanticized her appearance, pairing the footage with songs like Sweet But Psycho, while comments flooded in praising her beauty and minimizing the horrific reality of the crime. Some comments were deeply disturbing. "I've fallen in love with her. I can fix her, and she's so cute." The fact that people were glamorizing someone's psychotic break and turning a mother's murder into entertainment horrified mental health professionals and devastated the family. In 2021, Isabella's stepfather, Ryan Hoy, spoke publicly about the viral content, expressing heartbreak over the internet, turning their tragedy into a personality trend. The viral phenomenon also created new obstacles for Isabella's treatment team, who now had to help her cope with the idea that her lowest, most chaotic moments had been viewed by millions online. Meanwhile, Isabella continued her recovery inside the mental health facility. After 7 years of treatment, she began petitioning for conditional release. In November 2020, she addressed the public for the first time in a carefully supervised interview. She talked about her upbringing, claiming she had experienced abuse within her family and during her time as a Jehovah's Witness. She said the abuse intensified when she left the religion at 14. Isabella also spoke about the emotional pain of her mother's death and revealed scars on her hands from the night of the incident. She emphasized that she had not been in control of her mind during the tragedy and claimed that years of treatment had restored her to what she described as full health. Isabella also disclosed that during her stay at the Colorado Mental Health Institute, she was sexually assaulted on 3 separate occasions by an employee. She reported the assaults to the hospital police in 2015 and expressed her intent to pursue charges. However, according to her account, the district attorney's office told her the report had been written in a way that made prosecution extremely difficult. By 2021, Isabella had been granted limited permission to leave the facility for supervised individual and group therapy sessions, each monitored through GPS tracking. These carefully controlled outings were her first steps toward possible reintegration, though any full release remained far from guaranteed. The case of Isabella Guzman stands as both a heartbreaking tragedy and a striking example of how transformative proper mental health care can be. It illustrates that even in cases where psychosis leads to catastrophic outcomes, treatment can restore stability and insight while also emphasizing the devastating cost when early warnings of mental illness go unnoticed.
I was not myself when I did that, and I have since been restored to full health. I was abused at home by my family for many years. My parents are Jehovah's Witnesses, and I left the religion when I was 14, and the abuse at home worsened after I quit. The fight with my mom was terrible, and I was injured in the process. I have the scars on my hands. I don't know if you can see or not. I'm not mentally ill anymore. I'm not a danger to myself or others.
Her story forces a broader conversation about recovery, responsibility, and the balance between compassion and community safety. Isabella had made undeniable progress in her years of treatment, gaining a stronger understanding of her illness and developing awareness of the horror of what happened. But the gravity of the crime meant that any decision about her future had to weigh her rights as a patient against the safety of the public. For Ryan Hoy and other members of the family, the possibility of her release stirred a complicated mix of emotions. Some recognized that Isabella's actions stemmed from a mind in crisis rather than malice, yet that understanding couldn't undo the permanent loss of Yun-Mai Hoy. Cases like Isabella's highlight just how complex the relationship is between severe mental illness and the justice system. For deeper examinations of cases that blur the lines between psychology, crime, and law, subscribe to Mr. Owl. We go beyond headlines to explore the human realities behind these stories. As Isabella continues moving through her treatment toward possible reintegration, her case remains an evolving study in the intersection of mental health, violence, accountability, and healing. Whether she is eventually granted conditional release or remains under institutional care, the impact of her story will continue shaping conversations about how society handles similar cases. The lingering question is whether we, as a society, believe redemption is possible even after the unimaginable, and whether we have the courage to balance empathy with prudence when confronting the difficult truths of mental illness and violent behavior. The final outcome of Isabella Guzman's journey has yet to unfold, but the lessons surrounding her case will resonate long after the legal process ends. In the broader realm of mental health and criminal justice, her story serves both as a stark warning about the consequences of untreated psychiatric illness and as a reminder of the profound healing that can occur when proper support and treatment are finally put in place.